Hello and welcome back to another video. Last video we learned how to use the UI and we got this far. So when you press the play button it loads the scene. Now we'll do some fun stuff in the game, and we can leave the main menu behind for now. So let's open our game scene. Okay, so we're in the game scene. Right, so what I want you to do is make sure this is in the middle of the screen. So to do that, go to transform, right click it and go to reset position. Try again because mine didn't work. Oh, there we go, it did work. Okay, so that resets it to 0, 0, 0. Okay, so we're in the middle. Now we want to move, don't we? We want to move somewhere. So right click the scripts folder, create a new C# script and call it player control. Now let's open it. Okay, so last video I spoke about start and how it executes when you start the game. Update runs every frame, so it just won't stop executing. So let's do a little example for those who do not know. Debug.log and say hello world. So watch when I press play, but first we need to drag player control onto the player. So player control is onto the player. He's got his material. We can change that at a whim. Go white, we can go black, we can go blue. And we're going to keep it blue. Okay, so now we've got the script attached. We can see if this says hello world every frame. So yeah, look, it's updating. The numbers are just going up and up and up. Hello world, hello world, hello world. Alright, so we know that works. Let's do some fun stuff. So create a new function and call it player movement. In fact, call it, yeah, player, let's just call it control. Let's put a comment above it. So to do that, do two, I forgot what they're called now. Dash? I can't remember. But that's what it looks like. It's like that. Whoops. So we'll say control the player, just in case we forget. Right. So what do we need to do? We need to move forward and back. So to do that, we need a variable, don't we? We need a variable. We'll make it public, so it shows up in the inspector. So at the top, write in public, float, speed. Let's set it to 3 by default. Speed. So to use this variable and make the player move forward or back, we need to save the, if you press up arrow or down arrow or WASD, you know, like the traditional buttons for controlling a character, but we'll just be using up and down. And up and down is new variable, so float V vertical, that is up and down, equals input, which is the keyboard, that the input of the button that you're pressing, dot get axis, and then do vertical in quotes. So this is up and down. So let's try this out. Let's this won't execute at all because it needs to be either start or update. So what we need to do, we need to go to update because we need to check every frame whether the player is pressing the button. So go into update and add the control function. And we need some visual feedback in the console, so we'll say debug.log and then say vertical, and it will tell us what we are pressing. No, it will tell us the value of vertical, and the value will be in between 1 and -1. So for example, if you press down it will be -1, if you press up it will be 1. So we want to use this data to move, but first we will do a debug.log so we can see exactly the data that's coming through in the console. So we've got a speed of 3 set, but we're not using it, not yet. So let's play and watch it work. So it says 0 for now, it means we're not pressing anything. So let's press forward, which is W, and it will go up, and it won't go any higher than 1. It stopped at 0.99399974. Now let's press down, it goes to -1, up, down. So it'll just get really close to -1 and 1. So now let's use that to move the character. So to move, we need to access the transform. So if you look in the Unity engine, you can see transform here. And if you move right, it goes right, left, left. Okay? So what we need to do is say transform, which is the transform of this object. So whatever object this script is attached to, we're accessing that transform, which is the player. So transform.translate, which is translating it, means it's changing the transform, and we need to say, so we're not moving on the x-axis, so that's the x-axis, that's the y-axis, and that's the z-axis. So if we do 0, 0, 0, it won't do anything. So what axis are we moving on? So we're going forward like that, so it's the y-axis. We could do the z-axis, the x-axis, but we'll use that for turning. So y-axis, we'll use the y-axis. So that's the middle one, right? So now we need to say vertical, which is this, and then let's just try that out and see what happens. Vertical. It'll work. It's very fast. Change it to 1. No, because we've not implemented speed, have we? So let's say, go back to the script and say vertical times speed, which will be very fast. Very fast. So the best thing to do to optimize the way it moves, you surround it with curly brackets and you say times time dot delta time. So this will so the summary says the time in seconds it took to complete the last frame. So this will align the game with the frame rate of the screen. So that's what time.delta time will do. And that's it for movement. So let's try it again. Now it's slower. Let's go with about 10. There we go. And if you change the variables when the game's playing, it will reset. Because look, it says 10 now. So if I unplay it, it goes back to 3. So when you're setting your variables, make sure the game's not playing. So I'll set it to 10. Yeah, and we're done. Next we'll do rotation. So it's similar. So this is movement. And then now we're doing rotation. So we need to set the horizontal. So do that now. Just do the same as this. So we're doing a float. And a float, actually, I'll tell you about floats if you don't know. Floats are like 0.1, 0.2, 0.56, you know, and then integers are just whole numbers like 1, 10, 12. They can't be 1.1, for example. Only floats can do that. So float horizontal equals input dot get axis horizontal. And then we do transform dot rotate. Then we say so we're rotating on the z-axis, right? Because this is what we're accessing here. So if you rotate z, it does that, right? Left, right. Perfect. So let's add horizontal. See what happens. We'll need to add a variable for speed as well. It's inverted. When I press left, it goes right. When I press right, it goes left. There's two ways to fix that. One, you could just put a minus before it, like that, and that would work. Put a minus before horizontal. Okay. Or go into File. Go into Edit, Project Settings, Input, Axes, Vertical, and then Invert. And that's the way I prefer to do it. So we've inverted it. Now let's try it again. Oh wait, whoops, wrong one. It was supposed to be horizontal. So fixed. It's a bit slow. So let's add another variable. So public float, rotation speed, let's set it to 10, it's default. And now we can say, we can do the same here, so surround it, curly brackets, horizontal times speed, and then outside of the curly brackets say times time.delta time. Okay. Now let's try it. It's very slow. Why is that? Have I inverted my horizontal? I mean vertical. Yeah, I have. It still. It was going back for forward and forward. It was confusing me, but I found it now. Right. So there we go. Fixed it. So yeah, vertical is supposed to be unticked when on the inverted section, and horizontal should be inverted. But I'm sure you already figured that out. So it's very slow. Let's just tweak it again. Put it to 100. Still very slow. What have I done wrong? Horizontal times speed. Oh, speed. Ah, I made an error. That happens. Rotation speed. Brain farts. Okay. So now, let's see if 10 is enough. Nope. I'm going to go with 100. And I'm going to go with 200 actually. So I would like it to be fast. Right. So these are very different values. 200 for rotation speed and 10 for speed. I like to keep them, you know, similar. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to calculate it and divide it by 10. Sorry, times it by 10. So I want 200 speed. I want 200 speed, so what I need to do is just times it by 10. So what I need to do is create a new float and just call it new rotation speed equals rotation speed times 10. So instead of using rotation speed as the speed in the transform.rotate, use new rotation speed. Now we can set the value similar to speed. So if you're doing a user interface for, say, an RPG game, you won't want to have the rotation speed showing 200 and then the speed showing 10. Well, that, in my case, I wouldn't anyway. I'd prefer them both to say like 10, 10. So let's try it now. There we go. I'm going to do times 20. So now they can both be around the same value. Okay, let's put them up. Put them to, let's say, about 19, 12. Now they work in conjunct. Okay, so we want to know where the player is facing because it was quite confusing for me then. So what we need to do is go to create in the hierarchy, create a 3D object, and let's create a cylinder. Let's center it, so put it to 0, 0. Let's make the scale, which is on the transform, make it 0.1. Actually, we'll go 0.3. And 0.3 again. Let's call it nose. And we'll put it there, like that. and we'll drag on the material, and there we have a nose. Oh wait, it's not even attached. So to attach something to another object, what you need to do is just put it underneath it, drag and drop. Now that is a child of the player. That's the parent and that's the child. Right. So there we go. We know where we're facing. Could make a tank. Let's mess around with it. Let's make a tank. So we've got let's call it the barrel instead. And I'm going to change him to green. Green tank. There we go. The camera, the background, to a green grass. Right, so the best way to edit objects and move them around is in the scene view. So we're in the scene view, click on player, press F, or double click it and it will zoom in. Turn off this, which is 2D mode, which is it'll just look down in like a 2D sort of camera way. Right, so we've got, there's the player. Directional light is here, it's in the way, so we'll grab it, we'll put it there, near the camera. So we've got the tank. Let us, from the game view, the width doesn't, the depth doesn't matter, does it? So we don't need to change too much. All we need to do is create a 3D object, a sphere, center it onto the tank like that, and let's half the size of it. Let's put it to, on the z-axis, let's put it to 0.4, and we'll half the size. And we'll see how that looks. Actually, that's too small. We'll move it up a bit. So yeah, just tinker around with it and try and make a tank. So I'm going to make it a bit bigger. And we'll move the barrel up. There we go. Oh, I've got a tank. Put it to 0.5. That's perfect. I mean, from here it doesn't look right, but from the top it's fine. It's perfect. Alright, so we've got our tank. And we've got our turret. And we've got a barrel. So now we can move around. Okay. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you liked it, please leave me a like, a comment, subscribe. Yeah, just tinker around with it. You know, change your colours, do what you like. But thanks for watching anyway, guys.